Hello, Bible readers. It is Wednesday, November 11th, and we're reading from 1 Samuel chapters 16 and 17, and then Acts, we're in chapter 3, verses 1 through 26. For Acts, this is the big second chance that Peter and the disciples are offering to those who rejected Jesus the first time. This healing of the lame man at the beautiful gate of the temple carries significance in multiple layers. First, we're seeing that after Peter's speech that I talked about yesterday, that kind of outlines, generally speaking, what Peter is up to here. Now he must show how the apostles are carrying on the prophetic power of Jesus in their deeds and their words. The apostles are shown here to have the same power to heal as was at work in Jesus. That's the point. They are, as much as Luke wanted to paint Jesus as prophet, remember, a powerful prophet sent by God, these apostles are the successors of Jesus on earth. They've taken up his mantle. By attaching Peter's speech immediately to this healing, Luke establishes another connection between the apostles and Jesus. Like him, they are now teaching in the temple. And there's a lot of things like this throughout Acts where the disciples, the apostles, will do something or say things that echo quite closely what Jesus either said or did. Here in my commentary, it says 3 aspects of what Peter says of Peter's speech should be noted. The first is the connection it draws between the healing of the lame man and the resurrection of Jesus. I mean, that's essential, right? That the resurrection of Jesus is why this is happening through the apostles. The second is a stress placed on the people's rejection of Jesus at the time of Jesus' first visitation. This is a devastating charge, but their first rejection, their rejection of Jesus while he was alive, doesn't have to be final. I mean, that's the good news of this portion of Acts that Peter's trying to convey. This is a second offer of salvation. The third aspect of Peter's speech then is a call to conversion. Like, okay, here's a second chance, now you need to convert. But there's a double edge here to this conversion. There's a promise that salvation could still be yours, but there's also a threat that you are no longer acting out of ignorance. You now know what your choice is, who Jesus is, and you can tell who Jesus is based on what I'm able to do in his name, is what Peter is saying. The promise is they'll be able to wipe out their sins. Which is interesting because there's a restoration here that Luke is pointing to for those who would convert. They can be restored, but it's not a restoration of all things. Luke separates a time of witness and restoration of people who maybe rejected Jesus the first time, but there's also going to be another time when all things will be restored. Little different than the theological angle we'll hear from Paul when we get to Paul's letters. The question is, will they obey this prophet who now speaks to them in signs and wonders and thereby enjoy the blessings God wants to offer, be counted among the restored people? Or will they reject the prophet a second time, now in full knowledge and deliberation? And if they do, Peter makes clear they will be destroyed from the people that God is forming. So that's the threat. As for our 1 Samuel text, there's not a lot here that I probably need to say other than these are the introduction to David's stories. David comes on stage here and will be on center stage for the rest of 1 Samuel and 2 Samuel. You've got some great stories that are probably familiar. The first story is about how David is designated as God's choice through Samuel, and then you've got a story of David as Saul's choice. David, of course, an unlikely candidate. The questions we have: can a boy defeat a Philistine champion? Can this upstart warrior escape the wrath of Saul? We'll eventually wonder. Can this fugitive and outlaw become a king? Can a man who hires himself out to the Philistines win Israel's heart? God finds possibilities for grace in unexpected places, and that's what David's story is about. So this part of 1 Samuel, enjoy it. Read it again as though it's being read for the first time. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.